Hi, this is Kimberly from Are You Awakening? And I'm finally getting around to doing the podcast I've been planning for years. And it is little words, little tidbits for empaths as they're going along their awakening process, because it can be a little bit daunting for someone who feels not only their own emotions, but someone else's throughout the day. So I thought I would start today off with an appropriate word, and that word is relatable. So what does relatable mean? Well, you're meeting people every day, whether that be in person or on Zoom or your family, and you're relating to them not only through your words and your body language, but also telepathically. So, as we're starting to awaken, these telepathic skills are going to take over, meaning that it's time to focus on what you're sending out telepathically. So, relatability is going to include not just the words and the body language, whatever that is. And you know what that can look like when you're annoyed by somebody, right? Well, your telepathic energy is going out to them too. So we're going to look at three things relating to relatable. And we're going to go through how empaths can kind of take a look at that word and apply it in their day and see exactly where you are in this process. All right. So the first one, show up as you are. Now, what does that mean? We're talking about authenticity here. We're talking about you being yourself in every moment, in every situation, no matter how annoying the person is, or how much fun you're having, or how scared you are, or what the heck is going on. Even when you're at your highest point of fear, we still want you to show up as you are. So, what does that mean? It means expressing your emotion in that moment, in that now. All right. So, that's a sticky thing for a lot of people, isn't it? Because you're like, oh, I don't want to tell that guy he's a jerk. No, you don't have to tell the guy he's a jerk, but you don't have to stuff your feelings down. Okay. So, for instance, I was standing in line once and I was overhearing a conversation behind me where the man was completely belittling his wife. You're stupid. I can't believe you did that. Don't you know better? What do you think you're doing? And I was just mm, mm, mm. And I'm like, I just can't do it. I can't let someone treat someone else that way. So I turned around and I asked him, where are you going to go with that statement? What are you going to do? How is your relationship benefiting from that statement? And the guy looked at me with the biggest eyes. He's like, what? He had no idea what he was doing. He was speaking in anger and taking it out on this woman. And she, of course, was, all shriveled up into a ball in pain and shame, right? And I don't know what happened when they left. I don't know. But I know that I could not stand there and listen to someone being belittled like that. Now, I didn't tell him he was a jerk, although I did think it, huh? Right? But I tried to follow, Buddha's little saying about criticism. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? Right? So, using those three things to the best of my ability, I was feeling his emotion. I was feeling her emotion. And as a telepathic being, I'm sorry, it was my true self to step in and say something to that man. All right, so let's go on to number 2. When you're feeling these things, when you're showing up as you are and you're relating to someone, where do you feel it? Okay, so as you're realizing your body is made of light and it's basically an idea that you're having, your body becomes a communication center. And that communication center communicates to you when you learn to pay attention to it, right? Now, empaths, they often feel things in their body. And, human conditioning tells you to go straight to, oh my gosh, something's wrong, right? When in fact, It's a communication. All right. It doesn't necessarily have to be wrong. And if you are feeling it, you may feel what someone else next to you is feeling. That's what empaths do. That's what intuitives do. So remember this, these people are sending you things that reflect to you, right? And this is their authentic self sending these things to you. That is a big statement. This is their authentic self sending these things to you. Now, in the case of the guy behind me, how could you say this was his authentic self? Well, this authentic self of his was making a statement because he wanted help, because he wanted from a higher level to be called out on it, because his higher self knows that that is not the way to treat someone, right? And if no one ever speaks up to that person, then he may not ever have the chance to think about that little nugget of our conversation. Okay. So, where do you feel it? Now, in that case, like I felt like my brain was going to explode. I felt so angry, right? And I felt it in my brain and I felt it in my heart. And I also felt it, we're going to talk about in a second, in my throat, because I was also feeling this woman who felt like she had absolutely no recourse to speak back to this man. That's your communication chakra, right? So I felt this gigantic lump in my throat where she just did not have the power to speak back to this man. And so what her higher self sent to me was, there's a lump in your throat, Kimberly. This woman is wanting somebody to speak up for her. Does that make sense? All right. So the third one, why are you drawn to those people? Right? You're drawn to relate to these people because you have something to learn from them. They have something to learn from you. You're mirrors of each other. Okay. Whenever you're drawn to someone, whenever they're in your environment, you are in accord with them. You are in the same frequency as they are, right? Or they wouldn't be seeing you and you wouldn't be seeing them. So remember, you're mirrors for each other. And as an empath, okay, we just gave you an example of how someone else can be sending you a message that I'm not able to do this for myself. Are you able to help me with this? And you, as an empath who has perhaps a little bit more of an understanding of emotions, use your intuition and your integrity to act as you feel you need to do. Okay. So when you're misaligned from this, when you're not being relatable, how can you feel this? So, for instance, in this case, I saw this woman and I felt immediately the lump in my throat. She was unable to speak for herself. Okay. You may feel it in your heart where you get a pang, right? You may also get a memory, for instance, that of a childhood memory where you're like, oh, I know exactly what that woman might be feeling right now. I know exactly because I went through that. I felt that. Okay. So when you're misaligned, you're going to get information about how to rebalance. And as an empath, remember, you're not always misaligning on your side. Now, it is a mirror to you, but in this case, I saw someone else's misalignment and it gave me the chance, who doesn't always speak up when she feels like she should. If there's ever that point where you go back and you're like, man, I really wish I had said something. There's an idea there that that person in that situation was sent to you so that you can remember to be relatable. Okay? So, this is how you help, is you reflect back to them what you are feeling with, in truth, with kindness, when it's necessary, when you feel inside in your gut that it's necessary. Okay? So, a final note, Remember that this is all practice for connection with yourself. Since everyone that you're seeing out there is part of you, you are practicing with yourself, right? You're practicing being relatable and you're practicing with your telepathy in that you're recognizing through your body, perhaps through words, perhaps through body motions, you're recognizing this communication and how you're relating to other people. So that's enough for today. I want to tell you all how much I love you and how much I missed you. And I hope to speak to you soon. Don't forget, always be relatable all the time. Love.